My name is Jackson Cleland, and I'm the senior pastor at Presbyterian Church of the Master in Mission Viejo. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the process that this church went through called the Missional Pathway. About 3 years ago, Kirk Curlin invited me out for lunch to explore the possibility that this church would begin the missional pathway. And I was up for the free lunch, but I have to admit that I was a little reluctant to involve our already busy church in a new initiative. But what I discovered as I talked with Kirk was that what I was trying to achieve through some of the thinking and preaching and teaching that I was doing on missional theology was not working. But in fact, what we needed was a process that our people would be able to use to discover their missional calling and to discern what God's Spirit was doing in them individually and as a church. And that this process would allow for us to do that. So this was a way of translating the theology of mission into the practice of becoming a missional church. And that was the part that I was struggling with to do. So as we discussed this, Kirk recommended that we first and foremost bring a team of our leaders and some staff members to go through the process before the congregation did it together. And this was a way of making sure that our leadership could vouch for the process and would be excited enough to get others involved. Having gone through Awaken and Activate and then later Assess and Advance, our team was ready to bring the elders into the picture. And so Kirk came and spoke with our elders, and the leaders of the church bought into the process. In the fall of 2016, we involved about a third of our congregation in the first two parts of the process, Awaken and Activate. And in that part of the process, individuals get a chance to examine their life story, the events and key people in their lives, with the understanding that God has been at work in all of those things, both the joys and the pains, to shape them to be a person that would be able to serve and love either a particular person or a particular group in their community, that God has designed all of their life in a way for this event of loving and serving another, that God doesn't waste any of it. And having 150 people go through this and make this discovery and to launch individually into their own different areas was a way of energizing the church toward the next two steps. The next two steps, Assess and Advance, were similar to the first, except for the fact that what we did was look at the story of this church over its last 40 years and to see how this church has interacted with the larger community. In looking at the joys and the pains of that and seeing who God has brought to our church, we were able to discern that we were called and that we have been shaped by God to serve and love a senior living facility that is not very far away from the church, and very shortly as well an elementary school that we have had some limited engagement with in the past. The exciting part in this was seeing the congregation together discern the future of the church here, to discern God's Spirit leading us toward these two different, very diverse groups. And one of the exciting parts of this for me was seeing that often our seniors and our younger families don't have as much engagement with each other as I would like. And the result of this process will lead a lot of our seniors into the elementary school and a lot of our younger families toward the senior living facility. And the beauty of that is I think that we will have more intergenerational connection with each other as a church as a result. So this is, the exciting part of this is that we have seen Jesus go out ahead of us. The people in both the school and the senior living facility were ready for us and excited that there was someone, a church that wanted to partner with them. So we saw that Jesus had brought this person to that place at that time. So we really do see God's hand in all of this. If you're considering the missional pathway, I would be happy to speak with you about further about what our church has gone through and encourage you to make that leap from thinking about mission to being able to engage your congregation with its community. Thanks for listening to our story.